All right, guys, welcome back to Grit Gym. This is the Grit Gym podcast where we talk about all things health, exercise, mindset, nutrition, and recovery. We've got Reid here. Reid, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Just give yourself a little bit of intro.
Yeah, this is my favorite part of like all these things. Like, who am I? What do I do?
Oh,
best?
I know. It's miserable to try to like
introduce yourself to the class.
Yeah, well,
Awesome.
if it helps you, and I didn't tell you this before, you're talking with a bunch of parents and of people that are most of our listeners are between 35 and 55 years old, and
Perfect.
They've got high school kids and elementary age school kids, and they're trying to do something great in the world.
They're already doing great. They're a parent. They're great in my book.
Yeah.
I'm a recent, there's a good start to the bio. I'm a recent parent. I got a 2-month-old, so I might have to learn from you guys. But yeah, brand new. I'm learning fast. But
it's funny,
no, I'm Reid Nelles.
You can still talk.
Go ahead.
Like, you're still going to talk like at a normal speed. I hear that everything slows down because
I slept for 9 hours last night, which was really kind of crazy. Yeah, little champ is just like he's eating, he's sleeping, he's doing great. But no, I'm Reid Nelles. I'm a chiropractor up here in Minnesota. I just moved from Colorado to Minnesota a few months ago. I now opened Minnesota Movement's the name of the clinic. I think I'm wearing a hat. Yep. Cool. Got to rep the brand. Yeah, Minnesota Movement. We're a movement-based chiropractic clinic. We've got massage, looking to get acupuncture, personal training, and that kind of fun stuff in here as well. But yeah, we're 4 months in. I've been practicing for 3 years. Big believer in if you, can we swear on this thing?
Yeah.
If you move like crap, you're probably going to feel like crap is kind of my thing. You can insert the S word for that. If you move like shit, you're going to feel like shit.
All of them, like fuck, shit, ass, bitch, damn.
Yes. My kind of guy.
I might be out of curse words already. I don't know.
But yeah, that's the truth, man. If you move like shit, you're probably going to feel like shit. I see runners all the time where that knee is just diving into something. And it's not going to make a difference if you're walking 2 steps a day. But if you start walking 10,000 steps a day because your Fitbit tells you to or whatever, and you start running these ultra marathons and what have you.
Yeah. What is your take on those? Like, I go back and forth on the whole Fitbit thing, like, or the pedometer, all this stuff. Like, we know that it's not accurate. We know that it's not precise, but at the same time, it's like a nice little game people play with themselves that.
Yeah, I tell people all the time,
off the couch, you know, like
if that's what gets you off the couch is you beating your grandma in steps or you beating last week's steps, go for it. There's other things out there. Currently reading the book Habit or The Power of Habit. So any cue, routine, reward that you can comprise of and get that method out there, go for it. If that's a Fitbit, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, little habits lead to big things. Yeah, we have habits for a reason. So I really like that book. I thought it was very interesting. The positive feedback loops, basically, from the negative feedback loops.
Absolutely. Well,
it's been a few years.
In the coaching realm, in the coaching realm, like you, I'm sure have had, it's like, telling people that habits are formed. They're not just boom, there it is.
Right.
So getting people to make many, many small conscious decisions that add up to be a big habit, that's huge. Whether that's with something simple as a hip hinge or what have you, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the big word there is conscious. Like, it's outrageous amount of conscious effort, and then eventually you just kind of do it. You don't have to think about it.
Big time. Yep.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your practice. What got you into it?
What got me into practice? So a little more brief history about me. I broke my back 3 times. I've also I've had 9 concussions.
Wait, did you not learn after the first one? Is that what happened?
No, funny thing is, the first 2 were jumping on a trampoline, landed on my neck pretty much the exact same way twice.
Really?
Third one, I was trying to jump across the road on a snowboard. I'd be willing to take bets of like, how did that end up for you? Yeah, I didn't make it across the road. Landed right on my L5 and shattered it. So that was a fun one. It's really good for the game of golf now where it's like click, 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 click. So instability galore. But through that, I think, figuring out that the bulk of healthcare is just helter-skelter. I knew that I wanted to get into the healthcare world, but I wanted to actually make a difference and not based off of what insurance was going to tell me. So kind of going down that road.
That's what got me out of physical therapy. That's like, I couldn't do it. I just could not. The worst physical therapist in the world gets paid more than the best physical therapist in the world because they can run out the insurance to the very end.
Yeah,
whereas the best physical therapist gets you out in 12 visits.
Yeah, letting something else dictate how I want to spend time and care with my patients.
Yeah.
And also, like, if a patient needs breathing techniques, you think insurance is going to cover that?
Yeah.
No, but breathing is the most common, basic core exercise that you can do.
Yeah.
If you can't breathe, I'm not going to make you do a Russian twist because it gives you a six-pack for Instagram. I mean, if you want an Instagram ass, just, go into anterior pelvic tilt, and there you go, Instagram famous. But yeah, that's kind of what got me into chiropractic, to answer your question shortly. Ended up going to school for biology, kind of wanted to go the ortho route and do that whole thing. 9 concussions later, my hands shake like it's going on a style. So I don't think anybody wants me cutting them open anytime soon. Yeah. But yeah, through all my own multitude of injuries, it kind of led me down either the PT chiropractic route. There's a chiropractic school in town here. Why not? So
well, it already sounds like I thought about the ortho thing for a long time. I was like,
still thinking about
this, but the thing that got me out of that way of thinking was I wanted to work with people while they were awake. I really didn't want to. I didn't want to be a carpenter of somebody's body. I didn't want to slice and dice them.
No.
And I knew that it would come down to more like what you're in right now, what I'm in right now. Like like if we're really looking at this thing and we're saying this is about health, well, then we have to look at it and say like preventative is the absolute best thing that you can possibly do. Get up, move around, be as
and on that note, like what we're talking about right now, and like this is the rest of my clinic. I'm actually in a massage room, but it's the only quiet space I have here. But you're in the gym, right? And my biggest thing that I tell 99.9% of my patients, because sometimes you'll have the odd outlier, right?
Yeah.
Is that the best long-term prevention program is a good training program. And so that's linking up with trainers like you, whether it's personal trainers, whether it's corrective exercise trainers, whether it's weightlifting, CrossFit, Olympic, whatever. It's the best long-term program is a good training program for that person and that patient. So that's why I love this stuff. But
yeah, no, it sounds like, and from all your social media stuff, it looks like you really stay active. You practice what you preach.
Try to.
Yeah.
I do have a 2-month-old. Let's be honest here.
But that's okay. Like I get this is something else I go back and forth on. It's the whole recovery thing. Like, like just because you took 2 days off doesn't mean you don't practice what you preach. It means that you're taking care of yourself.
Well,
right?
There's a big difference between rest and quit.
Yeah.
Like, I have a 2-month-old. I'm not going to go fishing or wakeboarding or skiing anymore. It's like, no, I'm just not going to do it as much and go play baseball in the yard instead, because it's still movement and it's still fun.
Yeah, cool. And one of the things I wanted to ask you is, when you said that healthcare is kind of helter-skelter, what's your perspective on that? Like, what do you say?
Oh, how many tires do you want of this bus to hit me here? I mean, it is what it is. It's the insurance paradigm right now is just kind of BS. That's a given. If you want me to expand on that, I'm more than happy to.
No, we don't need to go into the politics of it all. I think it's a joke. It's definitely a joke. Like,
I mean, it's unfortunate because I'm paid my premiums. I have to pay my health insurance, but I barely use it. Not because woe is me. I'm a chiropractor, voodoo medicine cured my life, but it's just, I choose not to use it because it doesn't cover anything. And then, the rest of the healthcare system, it's like, why focus so much? And we're changing. The US as a whole is changing, but why focus so much on like the what? My what hurts, my shoulder hurts. Cool. Pain, fixing that is super easy. Yeah. You can do a lot of pain management with a psychosocial model too. So we know that decreasing pain is super freaking easy. That's the easiest part of my job. My big like slogan, and I think this might be on my social media, is fix the why. Why is that pain there in the first place? Does my shoulder feel like shit because I'm grabbing cookies like this every 2 seconds? Well, we should probably put the cookies a little lower or fix the way you're moving that shoulder. I want to fix the way that you're using that shoulder. I want to keep the cookies where they are. I definitely want to keep put the cookies where you got to earn them. Yeah. Because if we put the cookies lower, then you start getting gut, and that's a whole different issue. But I'm with you. What I say is like helter skelter it's the priority. Yeah, I didn't know quite what you meant from that, and I really wanted to. But we do have a system where we like to focus on the symptom instead of the actual issue. Like we don't get back to the source of what the actual problem is. And then we treat a symptom and we don't actually make any strides. Or we treat a diagnosis. I mean, speaking of the shoulder, I mean, somebody's like, oh, I have frozen shoulder. cool. Where are you at with that frozen shoulder? And is it actually frozen, or do you just not move it? Therefore, they lumped it as a frozen shoulder.
Yeah. And does it have anything to do with the shoulder? Is it is it
a scapular instability issue?
Thoracic outlet is a real thing. Like, I know people on the internet say like that's not a real thing, but I'm like, give me a break. Just
yeah. So, well, thoracic outlet might not be, because that's too easy of words, but brachial plexus disorder, if we're going with the M68 point whatever, stupid. But no, it's I run into that problem where, you know, it's putting the cart before the horse as far as whatever, but also people thinking like, oh, I can't go see a chiropractor, I can't exercise, I can't play golf because I have a degenerative disc. And it's like, okay, so does like 96% of the other golfers out there that are over the age of 70. So you're not a diagnosis, you're a person. You can move better always.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. But so tell me a little bit about the stuff that you employed. So like, you're a chiropractor, you do massage therapy. What else you got underneath your belt, and why did you go?
I'm not a massage therapist. I have a massage therapist.
Okay, my bad. But, thanks for correcting.
Yeah, certification wise, you know, chiropractic started first. Never really got into the realm of like athletics and things like that. Ended up being fortunate enough to be selected to go to the 2015 World Sport Games, obviously in 2015. So that was over in Italy. Got underneath the direction of one of my biggest mentors at school. His name's Dr. Stark. He kind of took me under and brought me over there. So that was cool. Got introduced to that whole realm of the world. Ended up getting into athletics as a whole. So I like to say, how do I put this best? Jack of all trades / bastardization of everything. Not ART certified. Don't sue me, ART. But I do practice pin and stretch because it's kind of the same thing. Graston certified, but I don't own a single Graston tool. I teach for rock tape and just started that kind of venture. So, you know, all those taping applications and blades and stuff, you know, all those certifications, but it's kind of like are you your diagnosis? Do I put all these letters behind my name? No. If I had my CAs or CSCS, my DAC bar, my blah, 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 great for you if you feel like putting them on there. I just really firmly believe that nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. So you got to care first.
I mean, as far as the experience goes for me, like that's 100%. Like, it's like getting in a room. Like, I don't care how much you know. If you're not excited about what you're teaching, no one's going to give a shit.
Well, I mean, great example right here. We just met 13 minutes ago or whatever it is. Like, I didn't even know that you're a PT, but like, that's awesome. Cause I knew that you cared to have this gym behind you and going down that right path of like, I knew of you guys before you even reached out.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm not a PT.
I thought you said you.
That was a long time ago. But
that you were a PT or even wanted to go down that realm, because like I just knew that you know proper movement, and I could care less if you're a massage therapist, if you're a reflexologist, if you're a osteopathic surgeon. Like, I could care less what people are. If you know that person cares about who they're with, what they're with, and why they're there, that's a good person in my book.
It makes a huge difference. Yeah. Did you look at? Have you looked up any of the studies with? This was the most recent one I saw. It was really interesting. They took physical therapy clients, and they said they had one that went in with like a person who was like, they didn't do the actual protocols of what they were supposed to do, but they were like, man, this is going to work for you really well. This is going to do everything. This is going to be everything that you want it to be. You're going to get out of pain, blah, blah, blah. And then the other people, they did the typical protocol for like the shoulder or the knee or the hip or whatever it was. Yeah. And they followed this kind of like canned routine, but they didn't talk to them at all. And the groups, like, you'd think the ones that had the more like that
structured model,
would be the ones that were almost identical.
Yeah.
Like, so and obviously both of those.
I mean, I think you're breaking up here a little bit. There you go.
Oh, okay, good. But yeah, obviously
we're back for now. But yeah, I mean that pain management model, like, of somebody's brain is so crucial to like where they're gonna go, and that's. You know, if you came into me today and you're like, hey, Reid, you know, Adam here, nice to meet you, blah, 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 my low back hurts, I'd say, cool. And what? Like, let's go. Like, sorry to be brash, but I care, but I don't care that it hurts. I care how it hurts and why it hurts and when does it hurt and all these things. Right. And And that directly correlates to the recovery process of that. Doesn't matter how much blah, blah, blah you're getting and all these other things or what the structure is. If you do enough things, and they got to be somewhat right, but if you do enough things with time and consistency and believe in that model, almost everything is going to be the correct path. So
I firmly believe that nothing's going to work until you work at it. Like I just seen it so many times. Where it's just like I could give you the greatest training program in the world, and if you still go home and sleep on your stomach with your phone right beside you all night, and you don't go to bed until 2 o'clock in the morning, and then you eat.
I was gonna say, or on your phone all night.
Yeah, you eat like shit all the time. Then it just doesn't matter what you do. That 3 hours that we have together per week is just not going to do enough to matter.
Well, like on that training model, it's like the time and consistency thing. Don't let the 90% ruin the 10% or vice versa even. So, I mean, think about eating. I want to eat healthier, right? So I'm not just going to eat one salad a month and call it a day, or even just one meal a week and call it a day.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
But like so many times people are like, well, I work out. I'm like, cool. How often do you work out? 7 days a week. Sweet. What do you do? I do a 15-minute HIIT workout. Great. That's 15 minutes. Like, you might spike your metabolism. It might stay with you. You might lose some weight. You might do all these things. But if you're trying to say that you're working out to fix your posture, that 15 minutes, 7 times a week, that's not going to add up. And you got to think about what you're doing at work. If you're sitting like this all day, that's going to add up way more than that 15 minutes is. Even if those 15 minutes are Brugger's relief and chin retraction and cervical cars and all these things, it ain't going to make a difference. So you got to implement it into your life.
Yeah, the accumulative effect of time is a big thing. So you said that you mentioned Graston, that you're certified in Graston, that you do a version of ART.
I think I don't have the certification. Took it in school, so that was 5 years ago. I don't know. I don't know if you have to be listed on their site anymore or anything.
I'm pretty sure that my most recent I always get certified, but I've let every single one of mine lapse every single time before I went and got another one. It's not I don't know. I just think they're a little silly.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I get it's super cool. Like now working with the Rock Tape team, it's like research comes out every single day at this point. Like we're at this juncture in our lives and technology where like there could be new research dropped right on us right now somewhere on Journal of Osteopathic Medicine that we're like, holy crap, fascia is a real thing or whatever it is. So
that's fun.
I like companies that stick with like the current research, whether that's good or bad. And like, you got to think, I don't know, 100 years ago or whatever, we were still putting leeches on people's eyes to try to suck the demons out of cancer or whatever. So like, we've got to stick with the times, and not to say that some companies aren't doing it, but
they aren't. You're right. They aren't.
They aren't. I mean, I'll throw myself under the bus. Screw it. But they aren't really sticking with the times. But also, it's like there's so many companies out there right now, and people, and whatever, that think like the model is only one model. It's back to that time and consistency thing. I mean, multiple models at work. It depends on the person. It depends on who you're teaching. If they can relay that. If I learned everything I knew from Smart Tools and I didn't know how to tell my patient what the hell I was doing, they're going to be like, why the hell is this guy beating me up with a tool? Well, A, you're not supposed to beat anybody up with it. Why is he using this big silver dildo looking thing on me? I don't know. It's weird. It's a cruel world out there, man.
Can we go into that a little bit? Because I think that you hit that right on the head. And I see so many, like, not a ton of the people that come in to me, but I've seen it enough times throughout the years where someone will go to get Graston, to get gua sha is the one where I see it the most. They'll get gua sha, Graston, ART, they'll get a massage, whatever, and they'll come in with bruises all over them. And I'm like, this is not what you went to that person for.
No, not at all.
Can you talk about like a little bit like I've talked about this on here before, but I bet my listeners are kind of like, they're like, I don't know, I think you might be crazy, Adam. I think that's what you were going for. I'm like,
okay. There's a point of inducing good inflammation. If I'm playing baseball and I get hit by a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, that's not good inflammation. Still inflammation, but it's not purposeful. So there's a point to induce good inflammation because blood inflammation brings in oxygen and nutrients to restore that tissue, right? But what they found is it takes at least 2,000 pounds per square inch to change the tissue adhesions that everybody wants to talk about. And that was the old philosophy of we're going to dig that tool in there and break up these adhesions.
Thanks for saying it that way, by the way.
Adhesions. Yeah, I love it.
Like,
I use
it's become a snake oil. It's become the word for like the snake oil, you know, it's just like,
and it's, I mean,
adhesion.
What we're finding through research is that we're hitting the sensory system. So it's kind of this kickback reflex thing where you hit the muscle. Sure. You lacrosse ball or whatever. Still there?
Yeah, kind of. What'd you say?
Said, so if you're doing like a mobility thing, like getting your butt on a foam roller, lacrosse ball, whatever it is, we find that you hit that muscle to trigger your brain to get back to that muscle to relax. So it's this neuromuscular approach to instrument-assisted soft tissue, self-myofascial release, ART, all that thing is that we're finding that we're not inducing 2,000 pounds per square inch. You can do that potentially to a patient, especially like I'm about 150 pounds, all 5'9" of me. I'm not big and strong like you are. You might be able to put pounds per square inch. It's not that much really. But I doubt your patient or client is going to let you do that more than once. Usually it's like, hey, you just broke my arm. Get the hell out of here.
Seriously though.
Yeah, you get one shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's more this, you know, we're getting to these depth rate of strokes where it's, you know, what kind of mechanoreceptors and proprioceptors are we upregulating, downregulating, pain mitigation, sensitization, all these different things. And it's not just scratching skin and beating tissues up. So it's different, but that's sticking with the times. So
yeah, I just find it really interesting, and I see stuff on the internet. So the other day I saw one guy. He had these two sticks. I mean, they look like I don't know, like a broomstick handle, right? Only shorter. And he was holding it on the arm, like nunchuck, and he was just pounding the shit out of it, like so hitting the stick that was on this guy's arm, like all the way down. The guy's like trying to deal with the pain of this, and he's just got bruises all over him. You could tell they already did his chest, his stomach, his other arm, and they're smashing the crap out of his arm. And I'm like, this is really dumb. Like, what do you think that you're accomplishing right now?
Yeah, right? Let's think about it. Like, if you're trying to, let's pretend and hope that he's probably trying to down-regulate tissue tone, right? So he's way too tight in his pecs because he's just a beast, and you want to down-regulate.
He was a big dude. I mean, he's a big bodybuilder guy.
Yeah, especially with bodybuilder, we're not trying to we could upregulate before a competition or whatever it is, but usually they're too tight, quotes again, and we have to downregulate that tissue. If you're hitting the difference between the parasympathetic and sympathetic fight or flight response, if you're going fight or flight all the time by just beating somebody with a stick, do you think you're going to calm down? Probably not. It's got to be, you know, green smoothie, relaxation music in the background to get that parasympathetic chain going and then get that tissue to calm down. Yeah. But I don't know.
It was a silent video, and I really want to, like, I almost guarantee you the person was going like, just relax this muscle. Just relax this muscle.
Just chill out. You got this.
Yeah. And it's just like, dude, I'm not going to be able to relax when I want to slap you because you're hitting me like repeatedly.
Hey, you never know. If it's a bodybuilder, he's probably like, 2 more. Yeah. 2 more sets. You got this.
Yeah. I thought it was really interesting, but
you should actually play that video back to the we need more cowbell video. So he's just dinging the cowbell.
That's a good idea. I don't know. I'd have to go find it, but he was a big dude and he was getting the shit kicked out of him. It was really interesting. But can we talk a little bit about breathing drills too? I know we only got about 5 minutes left. I'm kind of cutting this one in on you at the end here, but
yeah, no problem.
Breathing drill, why do you say that it's this great core exercise?
It's the most basic core exercise. So it's great because we need to breathe. Do not quote me on this. What I always tell my patients, because they get it, and for ease of numbers, is about 80% of our oxygen intake to our lungs comes from our diaphragm creating a vacuum. I have no idea if it's more or less than that, but just stick with this number for me. Okay. I'd be willing to bet if you're breathing properly, it should be more than that, but nonetheless. Sure. So if 80% of our oxygen uptake comes from our diaphragm making this vacuum, and the other 20%, maybe 10%, maybe 30%, whatever it is, comes from these accessory muscles of here and the ribs expanding and all this other stuff. Well,
slouching
if we're trying to get, if we're trying to make this 10, 20, 30% increase by using more accessory muscles, that strains our brain, strains these, scalenes and all this stuff, creates thoracic outlet syndrome. What's the point? So we need to get back to what that core is doing, and not only thinking about, if I'm laying on my back, the most basic exercise that I give people for breathing in my kind of assessment is lie flat on your back on my table or massage, PT table, whatever it is, knees bent up, heels on the ground, hand in your chest, hand in your belly. Yeah. If you take a breath in as normally as possible, what's moving more, your belly hand or your chest hand? Mm-hmm. And when we start to break that down into the first exercise, we want to think of that belly going not just north and south, but east and west too. And you start getting people to think of like conscious belly breathing, and they're like tapping their sides like, oh, this flab is still flabby, even though I'm still breathing north and south. That belly button's going up towards the sky, but I'm not breathing into my sides at all. And I think it's, I don't know if you've ever done like the pop can thing where if you step on an empty, we'll talk beer can, right? Because I do drink beer. I'm a human too. But if you step on a beer can, it doesn't crush, right? You actually have to provide enough force or tap the sides, then it'll crush. So you want to think if your body is a rigid cylinder, you're never going to collapse, whether you're clean and jerking 375 pounds like an NFL athlete or somebody else who can clean and jerk 375 pounds. Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, sorry.
375.
Just throw out numbers. So
that's an impressive person.
or even just doing like a curtsy lunge body weight, right? Yeah. If you have a rigid cylinder, that core is going to be freaking unbelievable. So you need to think not just about the six-pack front and back muscles, but the obliques, the transversus, all of that kind of stuff too. Yeah. And that cueing of activation comes from breathing ultimately. So that's why I like breathing. There's plenty of other benefits, oxygen uptake.
I mean, I like breathing too. I like just like, it's pretty convenient. Important. Yeah. It's a good thing.
I mean, I'm sure they might be making a machine or pill for it now. So if we want to go down that route, I mean, it's probably cheaper in the long run. Insurance will cover it. So
no, less oxidative stress maybe or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just sedentary little machines here.
Yeah, but I do think like breathing has kind of done this interesting thing in the strength world anyway, where when it first came out, like it was like everybody kind of scoffed at it, and then it went to the point where people were practicing breathing for like an entire hour. And like I think as the sophistication of the industry has kind of come along, it's going to be kind of interesting to see where it goes. We definitely use it, but the way I get it most of the time is like I use like more of a provocative drill, like a lateral plank, where they have to hold themselves up, like our side plank, whatever you want to call it, to take that intercostal away, so they have to drop the diaphragm, stuff like that.
And I mean, any sort of carrot on the string, external cue you can get. What's the guy's name from Exos? Trent Wolflinger? Is that his name? But or no.
I know a few of those guys from Exos. Most of the guys that I know left.
Nick Winkleman is his name.
Oh, Nick Winkleman. Have you ever met him?
Yeah. I heard him speak one time, like
he's a nice
4
guy.
years ago.
Yeah. I went out there one time and it was really cool. They anyway, if you get a chance to
it's like my wet dream of a facility down there.
Yeah. It's absolutely amazing.
But no, he was talking about how much better, and not just talking about, there's research on it, of how much better an external cue is versus like, hey, Adam, I want you to think internally about screw your knees into the floor or screw your feet into the floor instead of, talking about a clock or, point your toes this way, thinking of an external cue.
Yeah.
And if you can use breathing as an external cue, it's phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah.
To center your body. So,
yeah, the external cueing stuff's really interesting just to see like the differences that makes. And what's really interesting about that is like, if I don't know if you've trained a lot of kids, like in my experience with working with other people and myself training kids, you use external cues all the time. And then you go to adults and you never use them. It's like the weirdest thing.
Yeah. What changes? Nothing.
I know. I have to consciously think of using external cues with adults. With little kids, I just do it.
Yeah. And I mean,
it's the weirdest thing. Whoa.
You got to think like it's almost more primal to be like, hey, think about a clock, go to 11 o'clock or, push your butt against the wall for a hip hinge. But as an adult, like if I'm talking to you or if I'm talking to a 65-year-old businessman, I got to think more sophisticated and put my big boy pants on and not dress in t-shirts and shorts all day like I do. And it's like, why? People are people. They learn all the same way for the most part. Use those external cues.
From a conceptual view, we all we're all very, very similar. We have way more in common than we do different. But exactly. Totally true. Well, is there any how do people follow you?
Minnesota Movement's the company. So Instagram handle is MNMVMNT. So basically just the abbreviation of Minnesota Movement. So nice. I know it's a mouthful, but email is the exact same thing, MNMVMNT@gmail.com. We do online consultations. I know you guys are down in Iowa, so it's just a short jaunt, but if anybody needs anything from me, just shoot me an email, hit me up on Instagram. More than happy to answer any questions I can about anything.
Awesome.
Unless it's ballet. I don't know shit about ballet.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you just saying that?
I don't know. I probably know something.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I know a lot about ballet.
I know a ton about
all those lessons in my youth. I mean, karate lessons.
My plies and I have no idea. Is that a thing? Is a plie a thing?
I got 2 nieces that do ballet, so I think I know a little bit.
I think my niece does ballet. I know she does some kind of dance, but I know nothing. I know absolutely zero about it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's dance.
It's dance. Yeah.
It's cool. It looks cool.
All right. Well, cool. So they can follow you on Instagram. Do you have a Facebook, or is that your main one?
Yep. Instagram's the main one, just because it's much more community driven. Facebook's more of our local thing here for things that are going around in the business here in Minnesota. But it's the same thing, Minnesota movement.
And I'll put a post up about this, and I'll tag you in it too, so they'll be able to. You guys will be able to go over there and grab follow Reid on that. But anyway, thanks for doing this, man. I really appreciate it. We'll have off the show, but anything you want to leave the Grit Gym tribe with?
No, keep moving. Quality over quantity, 100% of the time.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, could not agree more. But anyway, thanks for being here, man. Really appreciate it.
Of course.